Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with All Things Barbecue, and today I'm going to be grilling up some Moink Balls. Now traditionally this is something that guys sit around at barbecue contests and throw together for snacks, so they're usually just using a frozen meatball. But I really couldn't bring myself to just wrap some bacon around a frozen meatball and call it a recipe for you guys, so we're going to make that meatball from scratch, and it's an Italian beef meatball. We're starting off with 3 pounds of 80/20 beef. And we're going to add to that 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs, 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, we've got 3 eggs, 3 cloves of minced garlic, and about 3 tablespoons of Cattleman's Grill Italiano seasoning. All right, now working rather quickly, I'm going to try and combine all this really evenly. And we don't want to handle this too much because it starts to break down that fat. And that's why all of our ingredients that we're using today, we've made sure that they're as cold as they can be before we start this process. All right, so we work this until it's nice and tacky. You see it holds together pretty well. And then we can form our meatballs. We're gonna roll these into about 1 to 1.5 ounce meatballs, and at that weight, we'll get 50 to 60 of them. Now that seems like a lot, but trust me, when you put these on a plate, they're just gonna start flying off of there. Everybody loves these Moink Balls. We are gonna be wrapping bacon around these, so we want them to be just the right size for a half slice of bacon. The next thing we're gonna do is wrap a half piece of bacon around each one of these meatballs. One tip I'll give you guys is make sure that you pick up a classic cut bacon and not a thick cut bacon, because that thick cut bacon really has a hard time getting any sort of crispiness on it in the amount of time that it's going to be on the smoker. And what you end up having is a really chewy piece of bacon in the end, which isn't very pleasant. We're going to season these today with some Plowboys Bovine Bold. This is a really great barbecue rub, one that we like to use on brisket sometimes. It's got just a bit of sweetness to it, but it's not a super savory steak rub either, so it's kind of a nice middle ground. Should go great with both pork and beef, which is what we're dealing with today. So we're not going to go too heavy. We know there's a little bit of salt in the rub that's in the meatball. There's some salt in the bacon, so we don't want to get this too salty. We're just going to add a little bit of this rub for the extra flavor. All right, we'll let that set up for just a minute and then take it over to the smoker. All right, today we're grilling on the Yoder Smokers YS640 pellet grill. It's set to 375 degrees. I'm running some pecan and some cherry pellets. Now, if 375 might seem a little high to you, let me tell you why we're doing that. At smoking temperatures, that bacon's never gonna render and get crispy, so it's always gonna be chewy. Now we've got plenty of smokiness from the wood pellets that are running and from the bacon that's wrapped around those meatballs, so I'm not worried about smoke flavor. I want to make sure that we get these crispy on the outside. We are grilling these indirect today, and we're going to do that on the second shelf. We don't want to get too much direct heat on these so that they're burnt on the outside before they're all the way cooked through. So I'm just going to spread these out so there's a little bit of air in between each one of them. That'll allow the smoke to move around and for us to get a nice texture all the way around the outside of the Moink Ball. Now while we wait on our Moink Balls to come up to temperature, I'm going to mix up a sauce that we're going to top those with later. We're going to put a whole jar of the Big Rick's original barbecue sauce here into our skillet. This is about 2 cups. And then we're going to add to that some jalapeno raspberry jam from Holmes Made. And we're going to need about 1/4 cup of that. Now this is going to give us a little extra heat and a little extra sweetness as well. All right, I'm just going to break this up, and then right before we get to where we want to sauce the meatballs, we're going to warm this up on the grill just a little bit. Okay. So it's taken us about half an hour, and the outside is looking really nice and brown. That bacon's getting crispy, and the internal temperature is past 165, so we know these are safe to eat. Let's go ahead and take them off. Check out the beautiful color on that. That is just perfect. All right, and our sauce is warmed up nicely. We've added a little bacon fat to it, I see, which will be just fine. Let's pour this right on top of these meatballs. We'll just toss these around to get them all coated. All right, right now these Moink Balls have enough residual heat that we really don't need to let this sauce tack up in the cooker today. We're just gonna let it sit right there on the Moink Balls, and it'll get a little bit tacky here in the next few minutes. The sauce is tacked up. It's been a few minutes, so it's cooled off just a little bit. I'm gonna get a taste. And I love that sweet and salty really balance really nicely. Just a touch of smoke, and it all works really well with the Italian meatball. I'm telling you guys, you gotta put a platter of these out at your next barbecue. Your friends, your family, they're gonna love you for it. So make it happen, be a winner, make more barbecue. See you guys next time. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.